In the 1980s, Lee was regarded as the core member of the next batch of new leaders in the People's Action Party PAP leadership transition that was taking place in the mid-1980s, as Lee Kuan Yew had declared that he would step down as Prime Minister in 1984. Following the 1984 general election, all of the old Central Executive Committee members except Lee Kuan Yew resigned on January 1, 1985. Lee was first elected Member of Parliament for the Taegyi SMC in 1984 at the age of 32. He was subsequently appointed Minister of State for Trade and Industry, and Minister of State for Defense. In 1985, Lee chaired the government's Economic Committee, which recommended changes to established government policies to reduce business costs, foster longer-term growth and revive the Singapore economy, which was experiencing a recession at the time. The committee's recommendations included reductions in corporate and personal taxes and the introduction of a consumption tax. In 1986, Lee was appointed the acting Trade and Industry Minister. In 1987, he became a full member of the cabinet as the Minister for Trade and Industry and Second Minister for Defense. In March 1986, First Deputy Prime Minister Goh Chok Tong discussed the question with Lee on encouraging younger Singaporeans to join the party. Goh was firm that the proposed committee should attract only the right kinds of members, ruling out material rewards as an incentive. The proposed youth wing was to encourage the improvement of the system from within, which would give new members a stake in the country's future. Lee later said the establishment of the youth wing reflected concerns by the leadership that the lack of an official channel to engage with the younger generation might lead them to vote for opposition parties and potentially bring the PAP government down. The youth wing was an official tailor-made mechanism to allow dissenting opinions to be heard. Lee was the first chairman of the PAP Youth Committee upon its establishment, the predecessor to Young PAP. 16 On November 28, 1990. Goh Chok Tong succeeded Lee Kuan Yew as Prime Minister. Lee Hsien Loong was made one of two Deputy Prime Ministers, along with Ong Tang Chung. He continued to serve as the Minister for Trade and Industry until 1992, when he was diagnosed with lymphoma. He subsequently relinquished his ministerial position and underwent 3 months of chemotherapy, though he continued to be a Deputy Prime Minister during his illness. The chemotherapy was successful, and his cancer has gone into remission. Lee was appointed Chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore MAS in January 1998, 17 and in 2001 he was made the Finance Minister. To ease the growing budget deficit due to falling tax revenues from cuts in corporate and personal income taxes and other factors such as the Iraq War and SARS outbreak, Lee proposed on August 29, 2003 to raise the GST from 3% to 5%. A change that took place in January 2004. Lee initiated several amendments to render requirements for Singapore citizenship less restrictive, notably for foreign-born children of Singaporean women. 18 The changes were made after repeated pleas from MPs and the Remaking Singapore Committee.